Chapter 4, Global Management. Globalization is the trend of the world economy toward becoming more interdependent. Globalization is reflected in three developments: the rise of the global village in e-commerce, the trend of the world's becoming one big market, and the rise of both mega firms and internet-enabled mini firms. The rise of the global village refers to the shrinking of time and space as air travel and the electronic media have made global communication easier. The internet and the web have led to e-commerce, the buying and selling of products through computer networks. The global economy is the increasing tendency of the economies of nations to interact with one another as one market. The rise of cross-border business has led to mega mergers as giant firms have joined forces and mini firms, small companies in which managers can use the internet and other technologies to get enterprises started more easily and to maneuver faster. Studying international management prepares you to work with foreign customers or partners with foreign suppliers, for a foreign firm in the U.S. or for a U.S. firm overseas. International management is management that oversees the conduct of operations in or with organizations in foreign countries. The successful international manager is not ethnocentric or polycentric, but geocentric. Ethnocentric managers believe that their native country, culture, language, and behavior are superior to all others. Polycentric managers take the view that native managers in the foreign offices best understand native personnel and practices. Geocentric managers accept that there are differences and similarities between home and foreign personnel and practices, and they should use whatever techniques are more effective. Companies expand internationally for at least 5 reasons. They seek cheaper or more plentiful supplies, new markets, lower labor costs, access to finance capital, and avoidance of tariffs on imported goods or import quotas. There are 5 ways in which companies expand internationally. They engage in global outsourcing, using suppliers outside the company in the U.S. to provide goods and services. They engage in importing, exporting, and counter trading. They engage in licensing and franchising to pay a fee. They engage in joint ventures. They become wholly owned subsidiaries or foreign subsidiaries that are totally owned and controlled by the company. Free trade is the movement of goods and services among nations without political or economic obstructions. Countries often use trade protectionism, the use of government regulations to limit the import of goods and services to protect their domestic industries against foreign competition. 3 barriers to free trade are tariffs, import quotas, and embargoes and sanctions. A tariff is a trade barrier in the form of a customs duty or tax levied mainly on imports. An import quota is a trade barrier in the form of a limit on the number of a product that can be imported. An embargo is a complete ban on the import or export of certain products. A sanction is a trade prohibition on certain types of products, services, or technology to another country for specific reasons, including nuclear and humanitarian. 3 principal organizations exist that are designed to facilitate international trade. The World Trade Organization is designed to monitor and enforce trade agreements. The World Bank is designed to provide low-interest loans to developing nations for improving transportation, education, health, and telecommunications. The International Monetary Fund is designed to assist in smoothing the flow of money between nations. A trading bloc is a group of nations within a geographical region that have agreed to remove trade barriers. We consider 2 major trading blocs: the North American Free Trade, U.S., Canada, and Mexico, the European Union, and others are the South East Asian nations, Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation, and also the Pacific Rim. When doing overseas trading, managers must consider exchange rates, the rate at which the currency of one area or country can be exchanged for the currency of another. There are many cultural differences to understand. Misunderstandings and miscommunications often arise because one person doesn't understand the expectations of a person from another culture. In low context cultures, shared meanings are primarily derived from written and spoken words. In high context cultures, people rely heavily on situational cues for meaning when communication with others. A human's or nation's culture is a shared set of beliefs, values, knowledge, and patterns of behavior common to a group of people. Visitors to another culture may experience culture shock, feelings of discomfort, and disorientation. Managers trying to understand other cultures need to understand 6 basic cultural perceptions: language, interpersonal space, communication, time orientation, religion, and law and political stability. Regarding language, when you are trying to communicate across cultures, you have 3 options: speak your own language, use a translator, or learn the local language. Interpersonal space involves how close or far away one should be when communicating with another person. With Americans, being comfortable at 3 to 4 feet, but people in other countries often wanting to be closer. Communication involves not only differences in understanding about words and sounds and their meanings, but also in expectations about relationships and business concepts. Time orientation of a culture may be either monochromatic or poly. Poly is the preference of doing more than one thing at a time. Managers need to consider the effect of religious differences in order of size with the population. The major world religions are Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, Chinese traditional religions, primal, indigenous, and African traditional religions. Every company must deal with other countries' laws and business practices, which means weighing the risks of political instability or government seizure of a domestic or a firm's assets, political corruption, including bribery, and labor abuses.